Hey guys, welcome to Mosaic Life. It's the podcast with no answers and just searching conversations. And I was literally about to take a drink while I was doing this intro, and I realized shouldn't do that. That's bad podcast etiquette. So I'm going to save you guys. I'm going to wait till I'm not talking to drink.
Welcome back. Kick back a beer.
Like I'm in the middle of... So, yeah, today is a fun day because Daniel has so much that he wants to talk about this episode. Like, he is the most loaded up and ready to go kind of guy. No, I was going to say, because what were you saying right before we hit record?
I said father is what I said.
No, that was the prayer. What did you say?
I said, what are we talking about? Because I ain't got nothing.
That part.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I want to hit on that because why do you feel...
Gosh.
Like why do you feel like you don't have anything in your tank right now? That's what I want to know. I want to process with you.
I got I'm sorry.
No,
I'm stretching my eyes because I'm trying not to sneeze.
First off, don't apologize.
First off, to all my shard Mosers, Mo-lifers, whatever we are calling them, because we still don't know what we're calling them.
Yep.
I have this thing up in my nose. It's not a booger, but it is something tickling my nose right here. And so every time I'm like talking to Sam and, you know, we may get deep in this episode and then I may just be like, that's me trying not to sneeze.
You should just sneeze, though. Sneeze freely.
I think a sneeze would probably be more normal than me making this face again.
Yeah,
so I probably won't do that.
I think so, dude.
But if we're in a deep moment, I'm going to keep talking. Just turn the camera off.
You got really emotional. We're like,
oh my gosh.
No, I absolutely have nothing. This has been I need to think positively. This has been a tough week, and it's only Wednesday. Yes. And so, yeah. So my tank right now is empty, but I am excited for what you got, Sam.
Well, no.
So what you got, Ruth?
Hold on. I'm not. I think that we need to talk about this,
all right.
though. Like, because I think that there is a idea in your head that you need to show up prepared or like in good spirits or with like things in your head ready to go.
Yeah.
But I think that it's important to showcase like we can show up as we are and talk about and deal and process with what we're going through. Like there's something that's taking out like your tank. Like there's a hole in your tank or you just you used a lot. And I want to give you the space so that we could process this and we can talk about it. If it's not things that you feel like you don't need to say on the podcast, that's fine. You can vaguely brush over those with like vague strokes. But like the detail of like what, like I'm expended because of this. And yeah. See?
Whew, I feel way better now.
No, you can't breeze past it.
All right. Well, all right. This is really good. So that just takes all the pressure off. No, it has been, you're right. So 9 times out of 10, really 10 times out of 10, come in here to a podcast and I'm like, all right, Sam, what are we going to talk about? Let's get a game plan. And we arrived on the fact that some of a plan is okay. Mm-hmm. All right. You'll concede to that. Mm-hmm. But, too much of a plan can be a bad thing.
And like 2% is like too much. I need the 1%.
Oh my gosh.
Well, because you had no idea we were going to talk about this.
I had no idea we were going to talk about this, but this is good.
And let me give you some reasoning why I have for this, because a lot of our really, really good conversations come out of this moment right here, where you say to me, I have nothing, and I'm spent. And I'm like, interesting, Daniel, why do you say that?
All right. So the reason I'm spent is this week I was wrapping up. It was tax day this week. And I'm trying to, in my planning mind, I'm trying to plan out, I'm already in year 2034. So I'm already trying to figure out,
34.
I'm already 10 years, like trying to figure out what I'm going to do 10 years from now. Yep. And so I'm dealing with that this week. I'm trying to figure out like things I should set aside, and as far as like we're talking finances here. So things I need to set aside financially, things I need to do in the next 2 to 3 years. I'm also considering with my current occupation, what I'm doing, people I should hire or not hire, and all this stuff is like swirling in my head. And so take that, and then on top of it, Monday night, we made dinner, went to bed. I was feeling okay, feeling great.
Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Like you should?
Just like I should. I was in my Sunday best, and I wasn't even stressed. And so I went to bed, and yesterday, I woke up and I felt horrible. And then not only did I feel horrible, then I was thinking about my entire day ahead of me and all the appointments and stuff I had set. And I was like, I need to cancel these. And so I had that stress on me. And then I was like, I also have tax stuff that I'm doing. So I was like, I need to figure that out. So like all these things hit. And then, so on top of me feeling like crap and all this other stuff, then I had like a panic attack yesterday from like, okay, we got to deal with all this stuff, figure out all these things. 10 years from now, I got to figure that out too. And what I'm going to be doing next week. And so, and I know all these things sound ridiculous, but like in my head, I had to like figure it out at 6:30 that morning yesterday. And so fast forward all the way through yesterday. And then today I was in the car, really good road trip with one of my friends. And because I had to go get some pictures and stuff up in the DFW area. And so I've been running myself, and like right now, that tickle on my nose, that's not a booger, is like really wearing on me. So I've been sneezing, blowing my nose all day, and I'm just at the point I'm ready for my Sabbath, and it's only Wednesday. So maybe I need to take my Sabbath tomorrow.
I was going to ask, when do you usually take Sabbath? Usually
I take Sabbath on Saturdays. And a part of my Sabbath, because I know they used to like kill people for picking up sticks, I take my Sabbath and I actually enjoy picking up sticks and mowing my yard and doing stuff. So a little caveat to that, or rabbit trail, whatever, for our Mosers, we encourage you take a Sabbath at least one day a week. We understand that Sabbath is made for man not for the Sabbath, but we still agree with taking some time resting. Sam actually has a thing on your iPhone that you set your focus to where you can turn it off. So.
Yeah, it's called roaming when I'm in a different country. And, yeah.
Yeah, so.
No, I set my phone up to become a brick on the weekends.
Yes.
And it literally, like, I can only receive phone calls from you two, and that's it. That's the only people. No,
wow.
No, just.
Oh, dang it. I felt really special. You could have kept going there for a whole nother.
It was, it's my immediate family and very few. Nope, it's just my immediate family that can reach out to me, because I figure for at least 24 to 48 hours, it can wait.
Yeah.
Even if it's like the worst case scenario emergency, there's nothing I can do in that moment. It can wait till tomorrow. It can wait till the next day. And it has been unbelievably freeing to be able to say, I can leave it, dude. Like I that's my favorite thing about Saturdays. I leave here and I can just leave my phone completely plugged in the bathroom, and I usually just drive over to your guys' house unannounced, like it's 1990.
That's right. That's so true. I like you coming over unannounced, though. It doesn't really matter to me because you're family, but I just think that's hilarious because it really is like watching Family Matters, and you just like come in.
I open the door like I'm Kramer from Seinfeld, and
I was thinking Urkel.
Oh, good to know I'm not wanted. That's been a good episode, guys. I'm gonna head out.
Oh man, no, I was thinking he just like
party of the year, Daniel.
Party of the year. Did I do that?
Your son cracked me up with that. It was like right after we watched an episode, and I was like, "This is hilarious."
Oh, no, that's great.
So why do you feel like you have to fix everything right now, though?
Golly, you ever jump in the deep end? What the heck?
Yeah, there's no shower.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just interested.
Why do I feel like I have to fix everything?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to put the emphasis though on you. Like, why do you have to prepare this? Why do you have to be in 2034 when we're in 2024?
because I'm aware of why I do things sometimes, so we can take the really short route.
Why would we do that?
Because the short route is the easiest route to just say, I like to control things. With saying that, you can't control everything. You can control the way you react to circumstances. You can control the way that I believe things about whatever I'm walking in, but I can't control the circumstance itself. I can't control what the acronym company is going to do, because I don't know if I can say their...
That's fine.
Okay. So I can't control what they're going to do with taxes in the next 10 years in the United States of America, but I can control how a son of God is going to act regarding those certain taxes. And the thing is that I did not control myself very well this week because I was just beside myself of thinking, I've failed as a person. This isn't working. I'm not.
Hold on.
Uh-oh. Gosh.
Because
you're beating me while I'm down.
No. I'm trying to help you.
All right.
Because I see you, and then you see you, and you see a different picture than I see. So I want to bring an alignment to it.
Yeah.
You just said that you didn't control yourself very well, and then you started to name a bunch of things that you couldn't control. Right. And so I was literally about to say this right before you went into this list, so that's very interesting to me, because we actually cannot control how we feel. And it's just that you can control your reactions to your feelings, yes.
Okay.
But how you feel is how you feel. And so sitting in that is not you uncontrolled. Sitting in that and giving the appropriate response and the appropriate attention to those feelings is actually extremely healthy. And so you're not uncontrolled in what you're just now talking about.
That's true.
And so reframe that a little bit and go back.
Well, we'll flip it and reverse it. Okay. Reverse it, pick up them yet. If you got a panic, get it. We can redo
the whole song. Ruth's going to sing it right now.
I am not.
Come on, Ruth. No. Missy Elliott represents therapy sessions, volume 1.
It does not.
Well, Ruth, you tell me. I mean, we haven't heard from you on the show yet.
What do you want me to say?
Talk about this week. I'll end it with this real quick, and then we'll just kind of segue because I want Ruth to talk a little bit about it too and get the spotlight off me for a second because this will help my emotional state. Went to bed last night and I rolled over and I was like, Ruth, thank you so much for being my rock. And I think it was so good because you need those people in those situations. I know Sam's going to go back and we're going to talk about all this stuff here in a minute, but I did want to say thank you for being the rock and the sounding board, because we've said to people before, a game we like to play is called Truth and Lie. And you come up with all these lies that you're believing, or some people say the story that you're telling yourself. And Ruth comes in with that solid rock sounding board. And she says, well, let me tell you the truth. This is what God says. This is what your wife is telling you. And it was so good to hear. So even in the middle of, I was having a crappy couple of days and then just not even feeling well and all the stuff that's like swarming around. It feels like right now, if I had to give a picture, we watched Twister the other day. Remember the F5 in the beginning of the movie where it's like sucking him out the roof and he's like trying to hold the thing down? Yeah. I felt like that was my brain yesterday. Is I was that guy trying to do the stupid lock that's not going to do anything for an F5, but I felt good. Like if I can just arrange the taxes and do all this and shut that lock, I'll be good. And then it sucked him out and killed him. So, but Ruth was my tornado bunker yesterday.
I want to ask you though.
Oh gosh.
When we were watching that movie, you made a statement. What was the statement that you said?
I said, why is he trying to shut the door? It's not going to do any good. Just go sit down. And what's her name in the movie? Helen Hunt was sitting over there And she's like a little kid, and the tornado didn't suck her out. Everybody else was fine if he just would have walked away from the door. Okay, I see where you're going with this, Sam. He's like a mage or a sage. He's so full of wisdom over there.
No, I just have my perspective, and that was just very interesting to me that, like, you have the answer to this already, which is just leave the door alone.
Just leave the door alone.
It's fine.
It's fine. Don't even need to deal with that rinky-dink little lock thing.
And understanding, like, that even in that sentence does not fix this.
What?
It doesn't make your mind better. It doesn't relieve, like, it's not like you just went, oh, okay, Daniel, or okay, Sam, like it's done now.
I'm done. And I feel way better.
Liar.
In fact,
You just
my
don't-
nose doesn't make me want to sneeze anymore. Where are we? I feel great.
No.
All right, thank y'all for joining us
doesn't work
today
that way.
on Pick Down. Anyway. All right, what you got, Ruth?
I don't know. I just think it's important because allowing yourself to do that and to feel that and to have a day like that. Like, it's important, I feel, to be able just to sometimes, guess what? I don't have what it takes to get through today. And just being able to unplug and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I was going to say that was reassuring. I'll let you go back into what you were saying, because like yesterday, not only was she my rock and sounding board, like I had so much love and appreciation for my wife yesterday. And another rabbit trail. We're going to do several rabbit trails. Like we talked last week on the episode, or last season.
It was like seasons and seasons ago. Yeah.
We said that if you're not in a community,
Can you recall the episode title?
It was the episode.
I know it was so far away. Like,
Just the four of us. That was the episode title. When the four guys, all of us sitting on the couch.
oh, the God Squad.
The God Squad.
That wasn't last week's episode.
What was last week's episode?
According
Anyway.
to us or according to the Mosers?
The Mosers.
The Mosers, it was It's Not About You.
No. Okay, so
I
this
mean,
is-
all those seasons ago, I think if I recall,
yeah. No, this was for the God Squad people. How did we come up with God Squad?
I just came up with it right now.
I was thinking
Never heard of
Fantastic
it.
Four or any other movie with four in it. Anyway, when we
It was
did
the
our
Toon Squad, but with God.
Quantum, when we did the Animaniacs episode, we were talking about.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even remember what we're talking about now. We said community.
Yes.
Okay. So when we were talking about community, we gave the challenge. We said, if you're not in community, you need to go find community. And the important thing that was a perfect example that happened yesterday is I had somebody in my community that was giving me truths and telling me it's okay to have a bad day. Because on my bad day yesterday, I was like not feeling well at all. I was just breaking down and being like, man, I just feel like I'm a terrible person and I'm not doing anything right. And then I was watching documentaries, which didn't help. And we're like learning about Notre Dame. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, like information overload, just trying to flood it out. And she was like, it's okay to have a bad day. And it's like, you're not a failure as a dad or a person. You're going to be okay. And I was like, oh, well, thank you so much. It's so good to hear. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
Well, it's just okay. That comes from a lot of me learning that, because I was somebody that beat myself up for having bad days. Like, you feel this pressure to always have it together, always know what to do. And in business, it's taught me that to take 24 hours and process. And sometimes I need that time to say whatever I need to say, get upset, get mad, scream, cry, get angry. But then 24 hours later, like, I have to have a solution. I've got to come up with something else that we're going to do. Like, you can't just stay there. That's not using wisdom. Just to sit there in your mess and not do anything about it or not fix it, you know?
Yeah.
So, but giving yourself that 24 hours to be like, hey, I'm not okay today. And that's okay. And so that's what I wanted you to do yesterday, was just be not okay.
I feel like, so in those moments when you say it's okay to not be okay, I think I put so much pressure to be like, okay, well, I got 24 hours to not be okay, so I need to get really okay. Because then the planning part kicks back in, and I'm like, okay.
You purge.
I purge. I don't know what that means.
Have you ever seen The Purge?
I haven't. Okay. I know about it. Like,
do you know what the word purge means?
Like in the movie, or what purge? Purge means to like burn everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like get it all out at once.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I feel this pressure of like, well, I need to hurry up and get myself right. So I need to purge everything, like get everything out, be done, and then that way I can start fresh. And yesterday, I literally saw no light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, well, this is it. I'm just going to die, I guess, today. God takes me home at the end of, as soon as 8 o'clock hits, this is it. He turns back into a pumpkin, and fairy godmother comes and brings me to heaven. So
I was talking with one of my life coaches last week. Yeah, it was last week. And she was doing this analogy where it's like, it's as if we're climbing a very large staircase, and I need your help to push me up to the next step. And then I have to turn around and I have to help you to come up. And so like we can't climb these steps alone, essentially. And I had voiced that I have a hard time because I feel like I'm a burden. And what I wanted was for her to go, "Oh, you're not a burden."
Yeah.
What she said was, "You are." And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because being a burden doesn't mean you're not loved.
Bro, that's good.
And so like having to have someone carry you for a second and get you to that next step doesn't mean you're not loved. Yes, like they have to carry the weight of you.
Yeah.
But they're strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
And they have been doing it. Ruth has been carrying your weight for years.
Poor
and
Ruth.
so
poor little old Ruth.
And so it's not like throughout the years, like she's gotten familiar with the weight. She's gotten familiar with who you are, how you are, and her muscles have grown in that. So like you have these people, like this community that we're talking about. It's not some like John Schmo that you just met last week. Like these are people that are constantly around you, and they know your mind, which is why I feel like I can poke at you for a little bit and say, why do you think this way? And try to come at your own mindset because you're spewing poison. And I'm like, that's not what you need. You need to look at this as a gracious man for yourself with empathy.
Yeah.
And understanding. There are days where you just want to give up.
Yeah.
There's days where it's overwhelming, and like we put more pressure. Like that's so wild to me that we put more pressure on us to, like, on the days where we're completely overwhelmed. We're like, but I gotta hold it together.
Yeah.
Like I gotta put on this mask. No one can know I'm hurting. And it's like, no, you're hurting. Like you just got stabbed in the leg. Sit down. Stop trying to carry that box. Like, no, I gotta be productive. Like if I'm not productive, people will know that I got stabbed.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone to know I got stabbed.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like sit down. Like you have to take care of yourself. You have to tend to your wounds. And emotional wounds are still wounds. Like you're in a very interesting situation in your life where you're going through all these different scenarios and all these different like transitions and stuff. And there's a lot of pressure to those things. There's a lot of weight that's being added to you. It is okay for you to say, I need to sit down.
Yeah.
And not do anything. And it's like, dude, we could even sit on this podcast and not do anything. We don't even have to talk. Like, if that's what it needs, if that's what you need the space to be, like, we can do that. And that was, I mean, dude, that came to me in therapy for a session where I was spending money. But, like, it's funny because it's just like, I was so overwhelmed. And I had this idea that like my therapy sessions were the detective with like the red yarn, and he's trying to figure out like who's responsible. Like there's a mystery to be solved.
Yeah.
Like and so like I'm the mystery. I have to come in here and like we need to figure out the clues and how does this connect to this and how does this connect to that. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And she was like, well, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to sit here and not say anything. She said, well, we can do that. And I sat there and cried for like 20 minutes straight.
Wow.
Because for me in that season, it was the very first time the world stopped in like months. I was like, I felt so much pressure to do everything. And she just allowed me to sit there. And as soon as I did, it was like everything got put on pause and I could freaking breathe. Yeah. And it just hit me very emotionally. So this is not, that's what I want to say to you. This is not a podcast for them. This is a podcast for you. So whatever you need today, whatever you need this space to be, we can make it that space. Because this is no different than me and you sitting in a car talking. Yeah. And I see Daniel at his most vulnerable and the most beautiful in those seasons, in those conversations.
Well, thank you for this space. I don't know if I'm ready to unpack everything, because I think that is, and it's not like that I think y'all can't take it or whatever. I mean, because Ruth seen me at my worst, you've seen me at my semi-worst. But that's just a ton to unload. And one day on one of these episodes for our listeners, I would like to like just share my testimony, where I've come from, and my story all the way from like pre-birth, like even my parents' vision and stuff, and then like where I want to go, because I think it's good and it'll give a lot of context. It's just I'm not, for today's episode, I'm just not ready to.
And that's fine.
Go down there. I do want to touch on two things. One, I laughed when you started thinking about carrying the weight and burden stuff, because I thought about me pushing you up onto the second story of your house. and in Elkhart.
Context, I am deathly afraid of heights.
And yeah. One time, Sam, we didn't have the key to your house, and so I was trying to help Sam into his house. This was like back in high school, and so I backed my truck up to the eve of your second story, and you were trying to get up there. And so anyway, I tried pushing Sam up, but the more I pushed him up, the more he sat down, and so we weren't going anywhere. He just stayed in one spot. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. Like you're gonna have to grab something. Anyway,
I was too young back then to lift you at all. So
oh my god,
it had to be me, and it was not going anywhere.
So we didn't get into the house. I don't know.
No, we did.
You hoisted me up there.
Oh, is that what we did?
Yes,
Ruth had to go.
He wouldn't get up there. He was scared of heights, so I got shoved up there.
Oh my gosh. Well, the second thing on burdens is when we're in one of our therapy sessions, because yes, married people still have problems, and Ruth and I do too. Yep. We went to a therapist in Tyler, and we're getting equipped. Really awesome lady. She was just giving us some tools. And one of the tools she gave us is she said, you feel like you have to carry the burden, like talking to me, which I usually feel like I have to bear this thing. And she said, y'all can actually half that burden, and it'll be way easier to carry if you let your spouse into the problem and carry it with you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that makes a whole lot of sense. But anyway, ever since that moment, I've probably haven't done the best at that. So I should probably, anyway, yesterday was a perfect example. Yeah. I was able to lean over and let Ruth come beside me with this. If you're like picturing, I think of like a yolk is what I'm thinking of. And like
from an egg,
from an egg, at least a double yolk.
No.
And Ruth was able to come beside me and carry it with me. So another example of the importance of community.
And it was set up by God, because I didn't work yesterday. So I had off.
Yeah.
Because we were doing all of our stuff with foster care. We had a bunch of people that had to come and check things off of our list for our inspections. And so I had taken the whole day off, and I felt like it was a setup by God because we both just needed it.
Yeah. It was nice. And then part of it, because I still didn't feel well, and I was like trying to get up and get some kind of sustenance. And Ruth said, how about we just go sit in the yard? And I was like, that's a great idea, because then we got some, is it vitamin B or D?
D.
C.
It's vitamin D.
I'm thinking of like Queen, what's her name? Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C.
Gosh, no. D.
Anyway,
Who's the queen?
it's a song.
Latifah?
Is that who it is? No, she doesn't do that song. Anyway.
The queen bee, Beyonce?
No, it was Queen. She says vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D.
I only
Says a
listen
bad
to
word.
worship
Vitamin,
music.
we could do the beep on this one.
A little.
And then she says vitamin please. So
No, I don't know.
I'll rap it for you if you want me to.
Yeah, do the whole thing.
No. Anyway. No, that's what we did yesterday. So
Yes,
anyway,
we did.
that was my breakdown sick day. And now I'm behind on everything this week that I need to catch up on. And that's why today,
that's
there's
okay.
that face. And it's okay.
That's okay. We can play catch up.
We can play
It's
catch
gonna
up.
be there tomorrow.
It's going to be there tomorrow. But in the back of my mind, so here's the problem, that even like while recording right now, I'm here in this moment, but I'm not. Like at the same time, I'm also thinking of the 10 things I need to do before I go to bed tonight, kind of thing. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer. Golly, y'all just like looked at me like,
you're
oh
not
my
a
God.
Debbie Downer at all.
And then I'm thinking like tomorrow I've got ABC I need to do before 1:00, and then I've got 2 more appointments, and then I've got 3 more things after that I need to do, and then we have the zoo trip on Friday. So at this moment I'm thinking it was the worst time. I should talk to my body later. Next time, don't get sick, because it was the worst time for you to get
Yeah,
sick.
good luck trying to control that, Daniel.
Exactly. And there it goes all the way back to I can't control it. So it ticks me off because I'm like, I don't know what that is. Y'all break it down because y'all are really, really good at that.
I just think that it's interesting because we've had a couple really good conversations around the fact that what me and you have felt, especially like in this season of our lives, that the enemy is constantly trying to prevent us from being present.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things right now for Daniel that are keeping him from being present in this season, in this specific, like even in the next hour that we're here.
Yeah.
And it's like,
God, that's good.
why does the enemy not want Daniel to be present right now? Like, what is there that the Lord has for you in this episode that he does not want your mind here? He wants it completely on 30 minutes after this specific season. And so it's like, let's kind of look at this perspective. Let's hone this in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that to me says, okay, there's something that God wants to say for you in this.
It's the thing that's been around forever. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he's stealing right now, personally, because I am aware of that, he's stealing the joy that I have in the present moment. Ruth and I just talked about that this week when we were looking back at like kids, because I was like looking at William in particular. And I told her yesterday, I said, I just want to come out here, play soccer with my boys. And I feel like my mind's not here. My heart's not here because it's 1,000 other places. But I'm trying to be the best father in that moment. But at the same time, I know that I'm not, because I'm self-aware of like, okay, I'm thinking about 15 other things at this time. We said it happened when I was like working in Tyler, and then it was like, when I was in school, and I was like, if I can just do this and like get to that point. And then it was like, okay, well, I didn't get there. Let me just get to this point, and we're up in DFW. Okay, then we moved back here, and I was like, okay, if I can just get to this, if I can get to this, if I can get to this. I think you and I talked about that. I was like, if I can just get to those points, and then it's like, whew, I have arrived, that quote unquote, I am there in this moment. And I'm like, you don't really ever arrive at this point. It's like you have to day by day purposefully be like, God, I want to be present in this moment. I need to focus and be with a heart of gratitude. God, I'm so excited for what you have for me in the next 15 minutes. And I'm just being honest, like that's the hardest thing for me, is to be in that moment present.
I think that we have been conditioned to wait for the credits to roll, and that we think that this is just going to be some story that has a conclusion. Yeah. And that's the happily ever after.
Yeah.
But the credits don't roll.
Right.
Life keeps going on. And it's like you get to those achievements and you think, okay, the credits are going to roll.
Yep.
And it's like, no, they don't.
No, there's deleted scenes now.
I don't know about deleted scenes.
There's an extra 10 minutes at the end of the movie.
No, there's an extra lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, because, dude, there's been so many times in my life where it's like, if I could just get here, like, then I've made it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get there. And even, like, looking back, I'm like, that was my ceiling? Like, that was my grand achievement? Like, dude, there was a time when it was, if I could just be a director at Gateway Church. I like, that was me making it.
You've arrived.
Could you imagine, like,
yeah,
if that's where I stopped? Like, oh, well, did that. And it's like, no, there's so much more God has for us.
Yeah.
And we are these just dirt and dust formed together in his image, but we do not have his majestic mind. Like his all-knowing, all-seeing, ever-creating mind. We can't even begin to fathom what's coming down the road for us, nor operate in and out of time. So it's like, that's why we get these ideas of, if I could just get here. I mean, I was joking, like, even right before this podcast. So if I could just get comfortable, if I could just have $1 million, like, and I start listing all these things, then I'm like, then I'll be okay. And it's like, but, and it goes back to, I forget which episode it was in. It might have been our very second episode, the first one that Ruth was on, where I had the revelation that my frustration in waiting for my, like, future wife is that I feel like I'm not whole without her. And so it's like we strive for these achievements to arrive, because maybe you don't feel whole until that happens.
Yeah, that's good.
And so it's like, okay, well, let's just try to figure out, can Daniel feel whole today? Like, is there anything else that Daniel can do to make him not even feel whole, but to realize how whole he actually is? Because it's a perception that you're not whole when you are. We're sitting on something good.
I know, I'm looking at her,
waiting to see it.
She's processing.
I think it's easier to see it. And that's why, going back to the community, though, because a lot of times when you're in it, like, you can't see that through yourself.
When you're in the thick of it.
Yeah. You have to have somebody that can call you out. Because, I mean, there's been several times I feel like I don't have what it takes to go and do the next thing or whatever. And we've always done it in phases, you know, where I'm not strong or you're not strong. Very rarely have we both been weak in a moment, you know, in our marriage. True. And so that's why having you, the other person, to call that out. And even if it's not a spouse, if it's a community that you have, being able to bring things out in the people around you and be like, hey, no, this is what I see inside you. Because there's things that we can't see because of circumstances. And, you know, you get those blinders on where it's like, I don't see any of that. And until somebody can, and for me, the beginning of this year, it was one of my good friends sat across at Starbucks and told me, like, what she saw in me as for a career. And I was like, I don't see any of that. And then as the end of the hour conversation we were having, I was able to see, I think I can do that. I think I could apply for this. And so like, it's just like, but it took her calling that stuff out of me to be like, hey, this is what I see in you. And look what you've done. And I didn't even know. Like you just get to that point where you're like head down, you're plowing, and it's like,
Wow.
oh, I guess I did do this, and that. And then it's like, but if you're just stuck in that thing of like, go, 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 you're not looking at what you actually accomplished.
You need a different perspective.
Right.
Someone who can rotate the glass,
Yeah.
the shard.
Yeah.
The Moser.
The Moser.
No, that's so true. You need that people inside your life. And I know we've said this several times on the show that you need people inside your life that are going to call out the gold. It's hard when you're in that moment to see past. And part of it, I mean, and I'm being easy on myself, so y'all, whatever those grins. Is that just like pride inside my heart? Or is that just like distrust or whatever that is of thinking? Because sometimes it's hard for me, like yesterday, just talking in particular, I know I wasn't feeling well, but I was just like, I should be doing all these things and I should have the plan for the next 10 years regarding taxes and everything else. And I'm like, I didn't have all that together and I could not see past it and be like, well, but this has to be done. Like, I felt like I was so out of control in that moment. Like, how do you see past those moments?
Well, if I'm being honest, it's like a little bit of laziness. like you do need a little bit of that. And so because of just that procrastination, I'm a very good procrastinator, so that's not something I struggle with. I do have to put myself like, okay, now you got to get it together. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't think I know that you don't procrastinate. Like, you get things done. And so that's like what, and I don't know if that's like, obviously it's not a bad thing, but being able to shift out of it, I think, is being able to kind of put it in a cruise control where like, okay, I'm okay right now. Like, I don't need to push. Because your type is just to push and get it done. Like
because my type is to push to get it done so I can relax. I feel like if I wait on a task, let's just like say yesterday with finishing up taxes, if I don't get this done in my mind, I'm thinking I'll be pulled away in my mind and my thoughts toward wanting to spend time with family, wanting to be present with you and the kids and stuff. But that was the lie I was believing, because even though I was trying to do that stuff anyway, it was still distracting me the entire time. And it made for a really crappy day. So I'm like asking, but that's really good. I mean, I'd need to learn to, would you say, like compartmentalize and just like put stuff in its own box and say, okay, I'm not going to touch that box till Thursday.
Yeah.
But can you actually?
Nope.
I was gonna say, like, because there's a thing of saying.
I think you can with discipline of keeping it up, because we did that we had to do that with business. Remember?
Yeah.
Every conversation we had was about business, and we were fighting all the time.
Until Ruth fired me.
No, I fired her.
She literally brought me in and was like, I know you're my husband, but I'm firing you. You can't think about this anymore. It was actually liberating because I took that off my plate.
Yes. Because
so
I was like, it was either going to be our
from
marriage.
Now on, you do taxes.
No, I can't, baby. I can't do taxes. I don't like taxes.
I don't think anybody likes taxes.
Oh. Can we just give it to the CPA? And he do taxes?
And he does. And
you're just over the top.
I'm over the top. I just need to lay it down, because I expect my CPA to also be, sorry about the sneeze. Oh,
Daniel's getting emotional. It's okay.
I'm getting emotional. You're thinking about my nose. I'm just sitting there like that. I got my nose. My nose itches so bad. I'll just sit here like this. I look like I'm in deep thought and should talk like this.
I don't know about deep thought. There's definitely a thought.
I just look like an idiot. No, I expect my CPA to be a mind reader and also to conjure up from the gods to know what's going to happen in 10 years. And
why?
Here we go. Saw it coming.
But why? Why does he need to be, and why do you need to be 10 years down the road?
Because I feel like if I'm not I don't know, if I'm not in control of that, then it's like all these variables can happen. I have no clue.
So like, what if you get, let's say you achieve this.
Yeah.
You get 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
Next year, they miraculously are like, oh, okay, guys, guess what? We never need to do taxes again.
That would be amazing.
But then you just wasted your time.
Oh, that's true.
Because this is how I've always talked about taxes. For me, because I hate it so much. I've said it's like playing superheroes with a 2-year-old. Because they're changing the rules.
Yeah. I win.
Exactly. That is how I feel every time I do taxes. It's like I finally figure out, learn my lesson from last year. Whew, we did that. We did great this year. Going, well, no, actually, your superpower doesn't work here because I've actually evolved to a level 2, blah, blah, blah. And it's like that one didn't really have an effect on me. So and it's like, well, geez, like, where's the relief?
Right.
So why, like, I can't even get next year's in line to even think about 10 years down the road because I can't account for what they're going to change or like what's going to happen in my life. Dude, like, because I mean, God forbid, like, what if the company that you work for can't even be a company anymore? And that's outside of your control.
Right.
And so now it's like, well, I don't even know. It's like, so you can... I understand the desire. I understand like the pursuit that you have in, if I can do this, then I can finally rest.
Yeah.
But you gotta just rest. He prepares a table for you in the presence of your enemy.
Yeah.
He does not wait for them to leave.
Yeah.
He doesn't wait for you to like finish the battle. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the battle, there's a table there for you to sit down and eat.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's like, if you, I think you're right in the distrust of it. It's like, I don't trust God enough to have me if I sit down. If I was to lay down and rest, then I'll wake up and I'll like, either my family will be dead, or I won't be in a place to like provide. I won't be in a place to serve. And that's not true. You'll be more strengthened. You'll be more in control of your own reactions because you have a fresh mind.
Yeah.
And it's like the rest perspective, I'm interested to see like what your thoughts are on rest. Like, how do you see rest? Hey guys, so we have to, if you haven't noticed, we're in different clothes. This is a different day. We had something that happened during this episode while we were going through and talking about rest and talking about all this stuff. Daniel he needed containment. That's what he needed.
Yeah.
And he had some things that he wanted to say offline, which we respected. And do you want to talk a little bit about what it was for you and what happened literally just moments ago for this episode?
Moments ago for this episode, my wife started laughing at me.
I wasn't laughing at you.
I'm teasing.
I didn't know you were at the middle of a crisis.
Yeah. I
was turned away.
So where we're coming at you this week, it's a week later. We're actually recording this now and coming back on this episode because right before we took a break here, Sam asked me about rest and what does rest mean to you? And so that's why we're in different clothes. That's why my beard's longer this week.
We rested.
We rested this week. So something that's interesting to wrap up this episode is that we were talking about rest, and I have not been resting. And last week when we started this episode that y'all are watching right now, I was sick for like 2 days. Mm-hmm. I was emotionally distraught because of, you can name it from personal life to work to everything, all the stressors that I have. all these things going on. And then I called Ruth and I said, I don't know if I should be on the podcast today, because I was like, I don't know if I should be recording. And then before I hung up the phone, that thing in my head kicked back in, and it was like, well, we've got to get this out. We've got to come back together and get content out. And I was already making this podcast that's been a blessing to people, already making it a thing of work. And Sam and I talked about this when we were berry picking the other day.
We go berry picking every Saturday at 3.
Yes.
It is one of the most delightful things you can do.
You made it sound so terrible, girly.
Berry
Bring
picking?
your bows and your skirts. And we are meeting out in the North Field. No, we're out because blackberries are in season, and so we're picking blackberries. And Sam had a lot of good insight because just a moment ago, y'all were watching it, and I know it's just like, instantaneous for y'all. For me, I've been processing the episode that y'all have just watched over an entire week and thinking
They're currently watching.
that y'all are currently watching over a week ago. And now I'm coming back today with just a fresh perspective. My nose isn't running anymore, so I don't have that booger up there, whatever is going on. And so I can come back and say this week I did get to rest. And a couple quick things as we're wrapping this up is during this episode, we talked about what it looks like to have Sabbath, what it looks like to actually disengage, what it looks like to not have the pressure on you, what it looks like for all these things. And I wanted to say a couple of quick things. One is containment. I had no grid for what containment was until Sam moved to Palestine. I'd never heard that word. Well, I heard of like Tupperware containers.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing. So if you want leftovers, you have containment. So stupid. No, containment. I don't want Sam to, I'm going to hop over to you and you can hop over and speak to it. What containment meant.
Hold on. Cause I want to slow down.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to feel like you're having to wrap up this episode, cause you're not.
Okay.
Like we can go like however long we need. I don't want you to think about wrapping this episode
I was
up.
hoping
I want you to just
3 hours.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I mean, we can do that.
Okay.
Cause it would literally just be 2 hours for us. But anyways, I want you, so just slow down, breathe.
I'm breathing.
And then now let's talk about containment.
Okay. What containment is. When we started talking about it. No, Sam actually got this from one of the coaching sessions you went to, and there's 4 different
Therapy. It's from my therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah, it's all therapy.
Therapy.
And it's
What are the groups?
Go to therapy. So there's 4 quadrants.
Quadrants.
And it's the every human being needs relational nutrients.
Yes.
And that's what it is. So in like quadrant 1, you have a list of nutrients that you need.
You have it?
And it is in my car.
In his glove box.
In my glove box. Because literally the other day we were driving down the road and Ruth said something and it was like dude, I swear, like this is the Holy Spirit. Because she started going like, I feel da 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 da. And my glove box just like Goofy movie like opened.
It did.
Like the pencil
Ooh,
like,
good
rolled
reference.
out, like,
Good
and the paper was
reference.
And
right
the paper
there.
literally like plops out, and Sam goes, "Oh,
Sounds
perfect
like
timing."
you need to look at these nutrients and tell me what you need. Is exactly what happened. It was so funny. And so, you have the picture
You
of it.
actually
Perfect.
texted it to me.
I did. I use this tool so often now because I didn't know half the words on this thing.
Same.
And it's so like essentially real quick rundown of this.
Yeah.
Everything in quadrant 1 you need to receive anything from quadrant 2. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Human beings, when they usually are like, if I'm venting to you about something, you're going to jump to quadrant 4, which is like advice and like a challenge. Like we are so quick to skip over 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But I can't receive 4. I can't receive any advice from you until I've been given, like, give me a word from 1.
Present. Acceptance. Attunement.
Acceptance. Yeah. Like unless I feel accepted by you, I cannot receive advice from you. I cannot receive a challenge from you.
Yeah.
And so we usually skip over 1 and 2, which is what I focus on with you guys, because that's what they focus on with me in therapy.
Yeah. So I had no grid for this when Sam brought it up. The different quadrants that are on here is be present is number 1, convey the good is number 2, provide reality.
Oh, no. It's are you reading the words or are you reading the definitions underneath them?
The definitions underneath them.
So yeah, that's That's so being present or conveying the good is actually, what's the word above that?
Quadrant 2.
Hold on.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because I don't want to do this wrong.
Yeah, convey the good.
That's the
Provide
name of quadrant 2.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Quadrant 3 is provide reality, and then, like you said, the call to action is quadrant 4. But you can't be called to action for advice or structure or challenge or anything like that until you have 1 and 2. And so, one of the things under quadrant 1 is, which we've been talking about in this episode, you want to be present in this episode. And I had underneath there containment. And containment is allow the other to vent while staying warm without reacting. And this is for all of our schmozers out there that, whatever y'all are called, I always equated containment as gossip or not trusting God or something that you were weak in the moment. So
can I reframe this a little bit?
Go for it.
Because I don't think it's what you saw of containment. I think it's what you saw as the need of containment.
Yeah.
So like what's needed to be contained, you saw as,
yes,
this is me being gossipy. This is me being like, okay. So.
This is being negative. And so I didn't have a grid for it, which it's kind of a dual sword here because I needed this in our friendship and you provided an awesome tool. I also needed this in my marriage. And so for all of our married Mosers, M&Ms, that guys, please
you
be
just
serious.
created a new emoji.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an M&M.
If you're a married Moser, let's drop some M&Ms in the live chat. But for 16 years almost, well, we'll say 15 years right now, we've been married. I never provided a place for you to be present to have that option of containment. And I think that is really piss poor on my part. Like, because I always thought, okay, if Ruth needed containment.
Hold on.
You did to an extent.
So I don't want you to beat yourself up.
I'm not beating myself
don't
up.
Beat yourself up. You had no like you said, you had no grid for this.
You're right.
You had no idea this existed. God. So it's okay.
I'm sorry
to give yourself grace.
I'm sorry
to say
just
I didn't
a little bit. I'll take one thimble of grace. No. Because I'm thinking, like, how many times did Ruth, she didn't know how to articulate it. She was like, I need containment. But she was saying, no, I need to talk about this, this, and this. And I just need you to listen.
Do you know what this is? So there's this video about, like, it's not about the nail where the woman she needs containment.
Yeah.
Like, and the guy's not getting it. Nope. Like, it's containment.
Right. And so Ruth has asked for this all these years. And I was like, well, babe, I don't want to. Either I would probably, I mean, you can, I'll let you beat me up a little bit. But what would I say? I would be like, well, I don't want to gossip. I don't want to talk about them or something like that. Or I'd be like,
he didn't want it to change their perspective, his perspective about somebody that I was upset with or that I was going through this motion. And he's like, I don't want what you're going through to change how I view them. And so.
But on the flip side of that, I didn't allow a place for Ruth to be like, I am dealing with a lot of crap here and I need to get this off my chest. And I would say this is a necessity. I didn't even read the other ones. And since we have plenty of time,
we do
I just want to read through these really quick. Acceptance, attunement, and I thought atonement, but I've never heard of attunement. Attunement is respond to what another is experiencing, get in their well. And you and I talked about this the other day. Attunement to me, I told Sam, I've always felt that sometimes in life, I've had people in my life that would come up to the side of my well, and I feel like I'm in a pit trying to get my mic, and I'd be like looking up and I'd be like, hey, I need help out of this. And these people would come up to the edge of my well, they'd look down and they love me. They're my friends, that they would give their life for me. So don't hear this negatively, but they come up to the side of the well and they go, Daniel, it's so awesome. We see God over here and all them awesome things he's doing. And this is going to be amazing. And just look, oh my gosh, his glory and all this. And I'm like, yeah, I can't see it because I'm down in this pit here. And are their hearts right? Yes. Are they getting in the well with me? And please hear me, because I'm not saying get into depression with somebody. Don't get into somebody's like muck. But at the same time, you can get down and like what Scripture says, you can mourn with those who mourn and rejoice with those who are rejoicing. You can get in a place and weep with people and say, okay, listen, this sucks. And I'm your safe place here. I'm getting in the well with you. I'm getting in this pit with you. And we're going to get out together too. Let me start showing you some of the tools. How about we dig into the side here and just start providing that space instead of God is so good, and he is. And let me show you how I experience that God is so good.
So it's interesting that you bring these two together because getting in there well is containment. And it's like, so that's the thing. Like if you, in that situation, getting in there well stops at getting in there well. It's not creating a plan to get out.
Whoa. See, I'm already
so
working to get them out.
Yep. That's the advice that's down at quadrant 4.
Why are you laughing?
Because I was in the same place. It's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. You get in there well and you say, man, this does suck.
Give me context.
Just sitting in that.
Because when I hear that, I'm thinking, well, just like an example, I'm thinking in my mind right now, somebody just lost a loved one.
Right.
Okay. Very, very perfect example.
Because I can do that. I feel like I can sit on the edge of their bed and be like, I don't know what to tell you.
Going through, oh, wow, interesting. My brain did not take it as a death. I took it as divorce because that's what I know.
Ooh.
I haven't experienced like the loss of a loved one in the form of a death in the sense of like outside of people I already expected that were on their way out. But for me personally, to make it personal, it's a weird sentence.
Personally personal.
Personally personal. When I was going through my divorce, I just wanted people to be there. Don't tell me how to stop hurting.
Yeah.
One, it's all I have currently in this moment, and I don't want to lose that yet.
Yeah.
So don't tell me to stop hurting. Don't tell me to move on. It's just sit here. Just sit here. We don't have to say anything. Like, we don't have to do anything. Shout out to, I call him Schmidt, but his name is Chris Hyde. Shout out to Chris Hyde, because without that dude, I don't know what I would do. I've been divorced twice. In every divorce, he has sat with me and not said a single thing.
Wow.
And just gave me true containment and just sat in my well with me. And he said, hey, dude, I'll sit here as long as you want to sit here.
Wow.
And my timeline is literally shelved until you say, all right, man, I think I'm hungry. Let's go get some food. And then we get out of the well. But as long as they're in it, stay in it with them. And it is difficult to do. But when you understand containment, which is whatever you say, whatever you do in this moment, and I've told this to you multiple times, it will not reflect how I think about you or how I see you, and it will not reflect or make me change how I see whoever it is you need to talk about and you need containment for.
Yeah.
There's a difference between gossip, because gossip means you're going to share it to me and I'm going to pass it along.
Yeah.
Like that is the gossip train. But if you are personally affected by something in your own life, and you need to get it out.
Yeah. Like I needed last week.
Like you needed last week.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I never saw it that way. See, I always thought I was being weak, or I couldn't have somebody get in the well with me. I just had to suffer until I literally were recording the episode that you're watching right now last week, and I just break down when Ruth laughs at me. But I was no. The joke is that she was laughing at something, and then as she was laughing, I just like my face turned, my countenance fell, and I just started crying. And I was like, "Guys, I can't do the rest of this." And what I needed at that moment was containment, to be able to open my heart bare to y'all and release that.
You had something in you that could not wait any longer. You had been filled up, and there was all this pressure.
Yeah.
Because in your own container that you've tried to contain, it was bursting at the seams because you needed someone else's containment.
It was worn out. It was
worn out.
Worn out. I knew I had a Tupperware joke in there somewhere, buddy.
It was forced, but it's okay. Ruth has something that she wants to say.
Yeah, I did?
Yeah, I can see it on your face.
Oh, I don't know. Just listening.
I want you to dig into something with me then.
Okay.
Because you said something that flew up something in my head, and I was like, ooh. You said just a while ago, when somebody's in containment with you and they're walking you through something, you said, right now I'm in pain and this is all I have right now. And I feel I want you to dig into this, or whoever wants to dig into it, because there was a book I read. I wrote a book. See Spot Run.
Is that your
See Jimmy ran. No, there's a book by Mr. Kruger. Can't remember his first name. Not the killer. I really.
He just said not the killer. Right?
Not the killer. It's called Patmos. And y'all need to go read this book. It's actually like biblical fiction or something, but it's talking about, anyway. In this, you see John the Beloved on the Isle of Patmos, and this guy that goes back in time wants to make him comfortable and says that he wants to make a mattress for him. And he said, because he's there on this island, he's a prisoner and all this other stuff. And so anyway, part of the book, he was like, I made something for you, and he gives it to him as a gift. And John pauses, and I know it's biblical fiction, but he was like, well, thank you. But he was like, okay, so why were you so off guard? I can't remember the whole part of this chapter, but he says, I want to ask the Holy Spirit if I can receive this gift from you, because I don't want to stop the work that Holy Spirit's doing in me, and to have comfort even from a mattress when Holy Spirit has brought me to this place for me to be uncomfortable and for me to lay on the ground. And I was like, ouch. Because how many times do I want to be Superman, fly in and stop the pain in people's lives? And God is like, you're working against me, because I have them in that moment, because I want to work something in them. And by you not necessarily giving them comfort, but by you coming in and saying, oh, I can save the day and I can give you $1,000 right now, even though God's trying to teaching you, hey, you need to watch your budget and you need to stop spending. I could give you a ride when God may be saying, actually, I want them to walk a couple of days because they need to learn how to get a job and drive their own car. I could you see where I'm going with this? Like, I could be giving you things, and God's like, dude, I know you're wanting so bad to help me, but you're actually working against me, because I'm trying to shape some things inside their life.
It's purposed pain.
Yeah.
It's pain that's purposed. And it is God's medicine, not ours.
Yeah.
And we think that our medicine's better. We think that, oh, you shouldn't hurt. You shouldn't feel this.
Yeah.
And God's like, no, they need to feel this.
Yeah.
Before every wound heals, it itches.
Yeah.
They got to feel that itch.
Ooh.
And it's like, we don't want to feel any kind of uncomfort. We want to be comfortable. So what do? We numb. We put Oragel on, like, wherever, because how dare I feel the healing? And that's super relatable to me. Like, dude, I've been a master number.
We become the comforter rather than letting the Holy Spirit, who is called our comforter, be the comforter for us. And when you said that, and you're like, this is all I have right now is this pain. Maybe Holy Spirit in that moment is working through that pain, and I'm the first one to jump into somebody's well, be like, all right, let's dig this way out, buddy. And Holy Spirit's like, actually, do you not see me? Because I'm actually down in the well with y'all right now. There's not 2 people, there's 3 people down in the well right now. And you said this, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There was not 3 people in the furnace. There was 4. Jesus is there with you. Mm-hmm. Whew, this is like getting really Holy Ghost. We're gonna break next week. We're gonna come back in 2 weeks and record this again. No, because I'm gonna like teary-eyed, because I'm thinking he never left.
And he didn't even need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
He felt every bit of those flames with them. It didn't say in the scriptures that they didn't feel it.
It felt pretty hot.
It didn't kill them.
Didn't kill them. Didn't singe your hair.
And they didn't smell like it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say that they didn't feel something. I'm sure there was a bit of discomfort. I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, because where it killed the soldiers around them before they even threw them in. So and I can't remember their Hebrew names, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Benny, they were feeling the heat even walking up to that. Ruth, something's burning in you. Let it out. Release it, Ruth.
I feel like a lot of times, like there's always like this, hurry up and do your thing. Like hurry up and grieve. Hurry up and heal. Hurry up and go. And it's like everybody's pace is not the same. I know for me, my pace, I go through my emotions fast and you go through them a lot slower. And so, not that it's a bad thing, but it's like I noticed, like in our grieving, the way we've grieved because we've lost foster children, and so the way I grieve,
clarity, they got sent to a different home.
Right.
We didn't lose them.
Right. We did not lose them. No.
They're somewhere in the backyard. CPS is gonna hate us.
No, they went to another home or went back to their families or were adopted out. Yeah. And just the process that we have to go through once a child does leave our home, I go through that process a lot faster. And so then like it'll be months later and you'll tell me something that you're working through and I'm like, I can identify with that because I've already moved through that.
Yeah.
And so I know I speedily do it, but it's not always the right way because sometimes there will be things that I'm going, and then, something pops up and there's that prick again, that's like, I didn't fully feel that. And I feel like I will just specify as me. I run from my emotions. I run from that feeling of, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to be here. I don't want to feel this. And so then we busy ourselves and push to get through it. And it's not fully healing. It's not sitting in that discomfort, sitting in that grieving, whatever it is you're going through. We don't want to just sit there, because it's very uncomfortable. It's hard. Because sometimes you're like, and I know for me in grieving, it felt like it was this overwhelming feeling that if I let that come, I didn't know how to get out of it. And I was like so afraid of that. Like I just saw it as like a huge, you see those, what is that, Indiana Jones with that huge boulder that's running down and you're running from it. That's how I felt with my grief. It's like, I can't stop because then that's going to crush me. And I don't know how to get out of that. And unless you've gone through that, you don't know what that feels like. And so just having somebody to sit with you, just having somebody that's just going to be there and not say anything and not push you to do anything and just be, because that's like, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do. So, but just having that comfort of just that hand or warm body can mean the world to somebody.
And the temptation on that is like what we were talking about last week, which is really this week, this episode, is I find myself running away from that boulder like the Indiana Jones. I'm probably the best Indiana Jones at running from thoughts and letting my thoughts catch up with me. But the thing is that Holy Spirit works in those and works out of those, but Holy Spirit also works in the stuff that's coming at you. So as those emotions and all those things are coming at you, even as they're coming toward our listeners, y'all take it from me, who literally had a breakdown last week and needed containment.
A few minutes ago, if they're watching the same episode.
A few minutes ago, when my beard was shorter, I needed containment, and it wasn't because I thought you can't hold the whole weight of the world on your shoulders. You have to stop and deal with the boulder that's coming at you. And I will promise you this, is that Holy Spirit is going to meet you there. I was telling them, it's sometimes easier to ride in your car and blare your music, or to stay up as late as you can before you're just about to pass out because you're so stinking tired, and then you go to sleep. And it's because I did not want to feel the next day coming, knowing of all the stressors and all the pain that was coming. And you can't do that. It's not sustainable.
I want to go back to grief real fast, because I think a lot of the pressure that we can feel, grief has stages. And I forget, like there's anger, there's
denial,
bargaining.
You want me to look it up?
Yeah, like I think there's 5 or 7 stages of grief. And our mindsets can get to a place where it's like, okay, I felt anger, check. Okay, I felt bargaining, check. Like I've moved through this stage of grief. What are the stages? Go ahead.
There's 5 of them: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance.
And then, so like you are, or at least I've thought of them as they're rooms, and I'm moving from room to room, and I'm moving from stage to stage.
Yeah.
And that it is a cycle or a process through. But in reality, it is a bowl of spaghetti. And I can be in anger 1 minute and then find my way to acceptance the next hour. And then I'm right back at depression. And then I'm right back at bargaining. And then I'm at anger again. And it is not a checklist. It is not a step-by-step process. And that's normal grieving. And so like a lot of people will beat themselves up because they feel like, oh no, I'm 2 steps back. I'm back at depression. And it's like, no, that's an average way to grieve. Like that is actually how you're supposed to. That is a healthy grieving when you have gone through this cycle and now you're right back at it. Mm-hmm. And so like I want to bring grace to those people that are just like trying to hurry up the process. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, you got to understand like this is going to take as long as it's going to take. And there's no hurrying it up. You have to feel it. You have to let that boulder just roll over you and lay down. Like, because on the other side of it, there's treasure. On the other side of it, there's healing. There's new perspective. Like it's not going to kill you. It's not going to take you out. If you just simply sit back and let the feelings come and feel them. I think there's a show. I can't remember the name of the show, but it involved therapists and someone who was constantly running from grief. Their advice to them was set a timer on your phone for 3 minutes every day. And for those 3 minutes, feel your grief fully. Allow yourself to feel it for 3 minutes. When the timer goes off, shut it off. But feel it for 3 minutes a day. And it was like eye-opening to me because I'm like, oh, wow, we don't even do that, dude.
Yeah.
We'll go months without feeling our stuff.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, I know we're talking about all this stuff, but it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and to talk about this stuff, because the stuff that we're talking about is stuff we're actually in and we're actually walking through week to week. And so like all of those stages, like I am in a new stage of grieving. And so like there are things in our hearts that it's just like, oh, okay, these are hard areas to talk about. But I know when I'm able to become vulnerable and share my pain or whatever it is I'm going through, there's other people that are going through those same things.
Yeah.
And that's what, in sharing this, that's what we want to bring, is maybe this is your only light that you're able to see, or your only community that is able to speak life over you, and that you feel like you have somebody that's walking through it with you. Because when you're in the grief, it is hard to see, and you do feel like there is nothing else to live for, especially in death. Like there's nothing else that needs, like I can't go another day. And so I just want to speak to those people, like you can go another day, and that feeling will leave. And I will say I haven't actually lost with the death of a child, but I have had a child that I've had for 9 months leave. And so that child is a part of me. I will never not love him. I will never not think of him as my own. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about him. And he's not anywhere where I have any type of communication. And so I don't think those feelings ever leave. You just get better at it the next day. you get better at accepting it, accepting that feeling of grief, accepting the loss, and being okay with it, knowing that it served a purpose, even if I never see what that purpose was on this side of the earth. Like, I know that I made a difference in his life. I know I made a difference in his destiny. So, sorry.
No, you have nothing to apologize for. He's a therapist and he does content creation. His name's Matthias, which is such a cool name. He's one of my favorite people that I follow. And he was just talking about, in one of his reels that he put out, he opens it with like, I think the statement is, stop telling your friends who are depressed to feel better. And giving them, and trying to cheer them up. He said, stop trying to cheer them up. And he follows it with advice. And he's like, your friends who are depressed won't be able to receive anything like that. And the best thing that we can do is find something or some way to be around them that they have limited energy to give to it. Like, hey man, I'm going to come over and let's watch a movie. Like, whatever movie you want to watch, I want to watch with you. Or, hey, I want to cook this meal. Is it okay if I come over and I cook this meal and we share a meal together? And they don't have to get out of their house, and they don't have to leave their environment. They don't have to leave what they see as comfort. Mm-hmm. You are making the effort to step into that well.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I'm coming to you. And you don't have to talk about anything if you don't want to talk about anything. But I want to be with you. I want you to know you're not going to be alone in this. And I've never thought of it that way. It's like, man, there's seasons of my life that I've gone through where just having someone, like you said, and being there. The what you just said about the departure of a foster kid going to another home and you not being in communication with them, but they affected your life and you had a love for them that will not go away. Those are the exact feelings I have with my divorce. And it's hard to communicate that, but you communicated it so well. And I want to tie that in because it's the exact feelings I was feeling and still feel. And it's like, I will love them, but it's different now. They're not in your day to day. They haven't passed away. It's like there's not a finality to it. They're out in the world somewhere. But
I think that you process like a death, because I can say one of my best friends, in just conversation, I would say his name, and when he died, in a conversation, and she was like, he didn't die. I was like, what? She's like, you said he died. I said, no, I didn't.
Wow.
And I didn't even know that I said that to her. And then it was like convicting to me, like, but I think that's what my subconscious did so that I could get over it, is like, this is a death. And so I felt like, and I didn't even mean to say that, but then I was like, okay, accepting that it is like a death because it is somebody that you did love and they aren't in your life anymore. And I did not know that that's the same thing as a divorce. So then that helps me to be able to see it with your eyes and to connect with you.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because there is it is such, like, I do not wish divorce on my worst enemy. Is one of the most painful things that anyone can possibly walk through, I think. But in the same way, because I haven't fostered kids and released them, like, it's so interesting to see this parallel. Mm-hmm. And like, I understand it now, looking it through that lens. That's the only lens I have. That's the only lens you have. But like you said, like, it's brought us closer into connection and seeing like, this is how it feels. because there is this weird pressure from outside elements to say, move on. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't. And it's not like I'm clinging to and I'm hoping that it comes back. I know it's not. Like, I know it is done. And I still have a place in my heart. And it's like, and I think there's holding tension of, I still learned things in that season. I still grew in that season. There was health in that season. And now it's a different thing. And so it's like, I can't just deny. Because that's what I always thought like moving on was like, just leave it. Everything. The good and the bad and the ugly. Like, leave it all behind. And it's like, no, I think that you can take the good moments. Because there's a line in a song that I love because I love lyrics. And no, Daniel, I will not sing it.
Dang it.
I was going to beat you to it. And it says, I think of you much more than I am allowed to admit that I do before strangers. And that line has always resonated with me with my divorces. And it's like, there is this weird undertone where it's like, I can't even admit that I'm thinking about these people anymore. And I don't think that's healthy. And I'm not saying I'm not saying cling to them. Because I think there's a healthy and there's an unhealthy balance in it. And believe me, I have navigated 2 extremely different divorces. And until my second divorce, I didn't think there was this element of still caring for someone after the divorce. And with the second one, I do. Like, I still, like, we're on good terms. Like, there were things in our marriage that I was responsible for, and it had to end in the way it ended. And we both don't hold anything against each other. And I didn't think that was possible, but it's true. And I'm still in my journey, and I'm still like navigating my feelings and my emotions, obviously, with it. But then it's like, okay, you have another foster kid coming. So you don't, because I'm interested now to see the parallel in bringing in another foster kid, but you still care for the other one. Mm-hmm. Like you said, like it's just different. And I don't think we talk about this enough. And I think that people can sit there and say like, well, that's not healthy. I don't think it's unhealthy for you to still love. And I think humans don't understand love. It is such a weird thing because at this point today, you probably would say you don't love this is the most in like the highest capacity that you have love for your kids. And then tomorrow's going to come and you'll have even more. And it's like, how does that even happen? So I don't know. I'm going to stop talking now.
No, I think that you need to be able to let those feelings come and go.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of me that wanted to stay. Like, I can remember times of just wanting to even have a tattoo of him like on me. And like, I just was like very symbolic about his name. And I'm not there today. But I feel like, so just allowing yourself to feel the feelings or whatever it brings. And I just see it like riding out the waves. Like they come and they're really intense sometimes, but then they also go back out, and allowing them to go back out and not having that thing of like, because when I have memories now, which it's been 3 years, and I don't have that thing where I want to just grab them and hold them and keep them and just stay in this moment. And that's the other part, is just being able to live with an open hand of like, okay, that was good in that moment, but that's not where I am today. And that's okay. And I think that's a part of too of the accepting just where you are in the moment. And that could be, I could be somewhere different by tonight. Right. Like you don't know. And it's just giving yourself the grace to walk through that stuff, because I don't feel like we give ourselves enough grace of like being okay with where you are at 9 o'clock in the morning or 7 at night. That's all I have.
I was going to say, just thinking in that area of grief, whether it be divorce, whether it be losing someone, or even them moving on, just like in fostering, I can say that you always run things against the foundation of the gospel. Because like when I get into containment with someone, or I need somebody to get into the hole with me, there needs to be a foundation that never goes away. And that foundation is, we have an awesome Father who is a good Father, and that never changes. My understanding of why did we lose him, and why we go through divorce, why we go through hard times, that stuff is ever changing. And that stuff that somebody gets into the well with you and sits there and says, I don't know why, but we both know, and we can both agree, God is good. I can't explain why we're having to sit in this well right now, but I know that God is good. And I think we have to be real careful, because there's a difference between a pit of a temporary condition, and then there's a pit of despair. A pit of despair says, you're done. Just wait for the bulldozer to push in the dirt into this pit, because this is the end of the road. And then there's a pit you accidentally fall into, and it's like, well, we just haven't found the right key yet, but let's sit here and let's think about it. And while you're in that pit, it's God is good. And you have to keep that as your main focus. Otherwise, you slip into oblivion and think, what's the point of life? Then the thoughts of suicide come. Then the thoughts of self-harm come, because it's like, well, I've got to fix things in my own power, and the only way that I can make this pain stop is to take my own life. Or, you have it. So that's all I want to say to it. Holy cow.
This has been a
emotional
episode for sure. And I think it's good though. I think the Lord has purposed pain for it. And
he's got PP for you. No, don't PP.
I don't think that's it. I think it's different. And so, yeah, this just feels like a good place to kind of land this episode. And we want you guys to know, like Ruth said so elegantly, we're dealing with these situations now, like in our present day. Like this is raw, real, and live from New York. We're not in New York.
Crying Saturday night. Breakdown.
We're gonna go berry picking after this, so it's fine.
I brought my skirt.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us and just being willing to go on these adventures and these journeys as we are just navigating emotions and hard seasons and trying to find that beauty in the brokenness. If you guys are in our live chats, thank you for hanging out with us. We love the premieres. We love seeing you guys, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.